Guess what this is not going to be? A first impression of the new Marc Jacobs beauty line, because I have already been playing around with and testing these new Marc Jacobs beauty products, waiting for some other new beauty launches to get here so we could do somewhat of a full face of new beauty products. So I can share my thoughts with you as we apply these to my face, and it's not my first time trying them. Now I am trying some other products for the first time. I have the new YSL Cushion Foundation, Natasha Denona's Tan Palette, the new concealer and finishing powder from Ilia Beauty. Laura Mercier relaunched her Secret Camouflage Concealer, so I'm interested to check that out. And we have a new fun mini set for summer. It's limited edition from Summer Fridays. I figured we would check out those shades too. So we have a lot of fun stuff to check out. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's get started. I'm starting with the YSL Skin Affair Soft Glow Cushion Foundation. This packaging is beautiful. It's very luxurious. You have the YSL logo, this blush cushiony cover, and it does have a magnetic closure. Everything is, black and gold inside. You flip it up and you have the cushion foundation. There are 31 shades. I have it in shade LN5, which is light neutral. I'm not applying a primer today. I just have my skincare on because I often get asked in my comment section what I use for my skincare before doing these try-ons. I'll just share that with you really quickly. Oh, that was really loud thunder. So today I mixed my niacinamide and peptide serum from Medik8 with my Anua azelaic acid serum, and then I applied my Dew Air Angel moisturizer. I am not going outside today. I am all inside, and it is raining and cloudy, so I don't have SPF on today. And I used Clarins Total Eye Lift for my eye cream today, and I prepped my lips with my beloved Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment in Peach, and that's it. Pretty simple. So I am going to go in with the included cushion on this half of my face, and we'll just see what kind of coverage. So I just tapped it twice, and I'm just going to press it in like so. Okay, that's giving pretty good coverage right off. Maybe I should have just tapped it once. Okay, this feels weightless, and it is diffusing and blurring my pores. It's evening out redness really, really nicely. And I would agree with the claims that this gives medium buildable coverage. So I guess I should tell you more about the claims. It says it's a lightweight, serum-infused, buildable medium coverage cushion foundation that's supposed to visibly minimize pores, which it does, and give an all-day soft glow and 24 hours of hydration. Okay, that looks really pretty. I like this level of coverage. I would say it's slightly over medium coverage. It's evened out my redness and dark spots really nicely. My skin tone looks nice, my pores are minimized, and it looks like skin. Now, I almost went with the next neutral shade down. I want to say it's LN7. I think I could have gone with that shade, especially with the bulk of summer coming up. I think this shade is going to be a little bit too light for me. I'm comparing it to my neck right now. It's a hair lighter. Bronzer will fix that. I'm not worried about it right now. I actually think it looks pretty nice. So let's do this other side of my face. I'm going to use a beauty blender type sponge. This is an Amazon sponge that I really like. I'll have everything I'm sharing and wearing today linked for you in my description box and tagged through YouTube where possible. So I'm just going to dip this once. I may have dipped that too hard because there's some decent pigment there. I like using a traditional sponge for cushion foundations a little bit better than the sponge that's included because it just contours to the curves of my face. The crevice is a little bit nicer, easier. And sometimes with the flat sponge, the edge can hit and take away pigment, and that doesn't happen with these type of sponges. For on the go though, the flat sponge is nice. Okay, I am very happy with this. Initially, we still have the whole day to go, but I think this gives really, really nice, slightly above medium coverage with the amount that I applied today. I have more sunspots, redness, and discoloration on this side of my face, and it did a fabulous job of covering that naturally without looking heavy. It looks very skin-like. I would say the finish is a nice satin natural finish. And as usual, I didn't apply it under my eyes. We have concealer for that, and we also have a concealer to spot conceal with today. Now, I can slightly feel it to the touch. There's a slight tackiness, not too much. So if you have dry skin, setting may be optional. If you have combination skin like I do, you may want to set it. My skin is normal around the perimeter and can be dry, and I have some shine and oil breakthrough during the day in the center of my face, and I live in major humidity, so I always set my foundations. So today will be my first wear test day for my thorough foundation review that will be my next foundation roundup. So stay tuned for that. I will obviously, as I always do, test this for several more days, using primer, test it in different ways. If you're interested in how foundations wear on mature skin of all types, I always give a perspective on that in my foundation reviews. Be sure you're subscribed to me. I think I've reviewed 350 foundations to this point. I want to take a brief moment to thank MIDI for partnering with me on this portion of today's video. I will continue to spread the word about reputable online healthcare options like MIDI because so many women continue to feel like they have healthcare issues that go unsolved, or they just don't feel heard when they talk to their doctor. MIDI is a virtual care clinic on a mission to bring high quality, compassionate medical care for women in all stages of life. For menopause, perimenopause, weight issues, and other health concerns, they've helped hundreds of thousands of women get the care and support they need. If you're a woman over 35, you very well could be in perimenopause, which is diagnosed by symptoms. With MIDI, you can enjoy no rush visits from the comfort of your own home, and they're accepted by major insurance plans in all 50 states. Their website is also extremely user-friendly. You fill out your information, select insurance or self-pay, book your visit, and then fill out a health questionnaire. Then when it's time to meet with your clinician, you discuss your symptoms and any health goals or concerns you have. And then if you need any testing or anything further, MIDI can help you schedule that and organize it at a local center. And after your visit, everything related to that visit is available in your portal. You can also message your clinician with any questions or concerns and schedule follow-up visits in your portal. I've talked about anything and everything related to perimenopause with my MIDI clinician: HRT, supplements, vitamins, lifestyle changes, nutrition, sleep, weight issues, skin issues, you name it. I feel like we've talked about it. So if you're looking for truly personalized, compassionate, convenient care for perimenopause, menopause, weight issues, or other health concerns you may have, check my description box down below where you can find more information about what MIDI offers or to book your first visit. So I grabbed the new, or should I say revamped, relaunched Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Complexion Perfector in 02 Light. I had the first iteration of this and really liked it because it gives you 3 shades that you can customize to match your skin tone. So there's a neutral, warm, and a cool shade. It's full coverage, long lasting, water, fade, crease proof, transfer proof, all those things. Because I have dry textured under eyes with fine lines, this is not a concealer I'm going to use under my eyes. I'm going to spot conceal with this like the NARS Soft Matte Concealer that's in the pot because it has a matte finish. So I just grabbed a little bit of the neutral and cool, and I'm just going to spread it and kind of warm it up on the back of my hand and then tap it on my face, and we'll just see if that's a matte. I'm just not sure if I'm going to be able to get a match since this foundation is just a bit light for me. I definitely feel like I need more of a neutral mix today. I have a sunspot down here. We'll just tap a tiny bit. You really don't need much at all of this type of product. I mean, it really just kind of melts into my skin, and I have been known to just dip back and forth between shades directly in the palette. I don't always swatch it on the back of my hand. I have a little spot right here, right in my nasolabial fold. I really just covered those spots to try this out. This seems very similar to how I remember the last version. It melts into my skin nicely and blends out and covers very well. I love how you can customize this. This is a product that lasts a really long time, and I like it, so I will be reaching for this. For my under eyes, I'm using the new Ilia Skin Blur Serum Concealer. I have shade PK7C, which is described as very light with cool undertones. I applied this the other day and really liked it. I'm gonna go ahead and swipe this under my eyes and let it sit for a minute while I tell you about it. There are some nice skincare ingredients in here, which I appreciate for my under eye area. It has a retinol alternative, peptides and caffeine to brighten, firm, smooth, depuff, and support elasticity and to help fine lines and wrinkles. And it claims to give medium coverage with a blurred, natural finish. And after trying it already, I would agree with that. I actually think it covers pretty well. I would say it's buildable from medium to almost medium full if you layer it especially. And of course you'll get more coverage out of it if you wear a corrector underneath. Let's use a brush for this side, why not? So I started this video out with corrector under my eyes just a little bit so I didn't look dead when I started the video in the intro, but I swiped it off before applying it just now so you could see how it covers without corrector underneath. I always need corrector under my concealer for discoloration, but this will give you a good idea of how it covers for dark circles without corrector underneath. I mean, that's pretty good. They say it fuses seamlessly with your skin and it's self-setting. Now, I always crease directly under my lash line, but this does not crease as immediately as many other concealers. So if you are not prone to creasing, you may not have to set your under eye area. I do, but this looks really nice. I would say the finish is almost a soft matte, very natural. I was actually expecting less coverage from this because it's Ilia. I just thought it was going to be barely there, light medium coverage. So this is a pleasant surprise. This is going in my rotation because I get even more coverage from it when I wear a corrector, which I always do. It's time for our first Marc Jacobs product. I'm going to hydrate really quickly first because my mouth's getting dried out. I've been mixing my Ultima Daily Refresher, my daily electrolytes I've shared with you 1,000 times. Raspberry, I think, is the flavor I've been using, with my Armra Daily Colostrum in peach. That helps with my energy and bloating. It just has so many nutrients. I've been mixing the two together and it's a pretty refreshing summer drink. It keeps me hydrated, gives me energy. I have one here every time I film to help keep my mouth from getting so dry when I'm talking for so long. There are 10 shades in the new Marc Jacobs Joystick Blush. I grabbed it in Shady Business, which is a rosewood nude. There's a bit of drag to this balmy formula, but it's not a greasy, balmy formula. There's a bit of stiffness to it. It starts out very, very sheer. So that's just what I took for my hand, which is something I do pretty often. I typically like products that start out sheer and allow me to build them because, you know, you can't go overboard right away. You're not going to end up with clown cheeks. In my opinion, this is the type of product you can safely dip your brush straight into the stick or even apply the stick straight to your face. It looks and feels hydrating, but it doesn't look or feel greasy. It's not super tacky. I haven't had any issues with it lifting makeup when I've applied it over foundation or over powder, so I appreciate that. It also doesn't feel overly tacky to the touch, which I appreciate as someone who lives in a hot, humid environment much of the year. Now, that being said, I don't necessarily feel like this is a revolutionary blush formula. It does take a bit of time to apply since I have to keep dipping my brush in to build it. But if you like a softer, no-fail blush formula, you'll probably like this, and I do like this shade. I am going to touch on the packaging once I finish talking about all the Marc Jacobs products. I don't have a new setting powder here, so I'm going to set my face and under eyes really quickly with Laura Mercier Under Eye Setting Powder in Soft Pink and Makeup Forever HD Skin Setting Powder in Corrective Rose. You can see the difference in shades here. This Corrective Rose shade is just kind of a brightening neutral that I like to use for my face sometimes. The only new powder I have for this video is the new Ilia finishing powder, which we're going to use towards the end of the video, well, before I share how everything wore. Before I set my under eyes though, I always press out any creases I have in my concealer just from moving around. I don't want to set those in with powder, and I want to point out that I really don't have much creasing at all, which is impressive for me. So if you're not prone to creasing, this might be a concealer you don't have to set. Okay, I'm back. I decided to wipe off what was remaining of my Ole Henriksen lip treatment because I want to go ahead and try out one of the minis that's in this limited edition Summer Fridays Sweet Summer Minis set. I am going to try out the other two, but I figured I would go ahead and apply Sea Salt Caramel. This is a neutral rose with salted caramel flavor. I figured this would be the most translucent or clear of the trio. I really do like this taste, and it feels like Summer Fridays lip butter balm. So I'll just leave this on my lips throughout the rest of the applications, and then I'll try on the other two flavors towards the end. Okay, so this is what we're looking like. I forgot to tell you when I was applying this or after that this wore well. I had no issues with wear time throughout the day. Sometimes that can be an issue with cream products, but after testing it and trying it out already, it has worn well for me. So let's add some sun-kissed color back into my face with this new Marc Jacobs Legally Bronze bronzer. I got this in the shade Light. This feels so silky to the touch. Now, I had and loved the previous Marc Jacobs bronzer. It was huge. It was probably my holy grail bronzer. Now, this is not as big as that was. This has the same amount as NARS bronzers, and it's the same price point, just for reference. The tone of this seems a bit warmer in the pan than I remember the original Marc Jacobs bronzer being, but this is very smooth and silky like the original. I do not have to tap my brush off before applying this to my face, which I always appreciate. There's no product hiccup, there's no excess product, no dust that you have to worry about. You can just dip your brush in and apply it. It's never patchy. It applies smoothly every single time. You can apply it very sheer or build it very easily, and it's effortless, very beginner friendly. I realize I look like I'm probably applying my bronzer pretty haphazardly, but I apply mine where I get sun. I don't apply it like contour like some people do. So I apply it across my nose, my cheeks, my forehead, my chin. I just kind of apply it where I feel it looks sun-kissed. When I first opened this pan, when I first got it, I thought it looked a little bit too warm. I was a little bit worried, but this gives my skin a very natural tan look. This is what my skin looks like when I tan. Bronzer is not supposed to look like contour. It does need a little bit of warmth to it, and I think this looks very natural. There's also no sheen in this bronzer, and it doesn't give a matte finish either. It just gives you your natural skin finish. This, in my opinion, is one of the standout products in the Marc Jacobs line. Just adding a bit of cheek color back into my face. I feel like we've lost some between the powder and the bronzer, and I want to show you that this applies over powder really nicely. No lifting, just a nice application. I got the Marc Jacobs Drawn This Way Longwear Gel Eyeliner in the shade Try Me. It's a matte olive green. I just thought this would be a little bit different, but still wearable for every day. There are 11 mattes and 10 metallics, and there are some pretty fun shades to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with this first before eyeshadow today. This has a very, very creamy glide. It's a very soft formula, and it does take several minutes to set down. When I wiped away my swatch the other day after a few minutes, I thought it wiped away a little bit too easily for a long wear formula. I just don't think I gave it enough time to set. The good news is that if you have mature eyes or a lot of texture or dryness, there is zero tugging. The glide is so smooth, and you have plenty of time to smudge it out, smoke it before it sets down. I almost want to say to wait a few seconds before you even start to smudge, because I felt like I smudged away a little bit too much. I went in right away because I thought it was going to set down quickly. I actually had to add back in pigment, which also good news, it layers well over itself. Some eyeliners kind of peel away what's underneath once they set, and this didn't. It also wore well all day. I didn't have any issues with fading or smudging. Now, one night before washing my face, I decided to just wipe my finger over the area to see if I got any residue on my finger, and I did. I got a little bit of transfer. It was a very, very faint amount, but I was a little bit surprised because the previous version was so budge proof and so long wearing. I thought, you know, if I sit here and I really, really rub my eyes, I think this would fully transfer. I guess I could do another more thorough wiping test tonight before I wash my face. I mean, it is supposed to be super long wearing and waterproof. Now, I've already played around with the Marc Jacobs Born Star, some of these names, I swear, Born Star Cream to Powder Longwear Eyeshadow. So I'm going to apply this to one eye with what I think is a comparable shade in this new Natasha Denona tan palette. So I'll do kind of a one and done eyeshadow look with the two different shadows and complete it with some shades in this tan palette. I'm of course going to continue to play around with this some more, but I think that's what's going to work best for this video. So let's talk about this. This slides to open like so. There are 4 matte shades, 7 metallic, and 3 duochrome. This shade is Shady. It's a metallic champagne and it is stunning and incredibly flattering. It's very, very smooth. There is no fallout whatsoever. I mean, if you have the right eye shape, you could probably get away with one swipe and you're done. But I mean, that is pretty. Did I say it was smooth and there's no fallout? Because it is smooth, there is no fallout, it wears well all day. This is a really nice cream to powder formula. If you like a one and done that's in some cute packaging, well, again, I'm going to talk about the packaging more here in a minute, but you know, this is pretty good. I mean, it is a one and done that's $29. There are a lot of one and done shades around that price point. It's a very thin formula. It just applies beautifully. So there are 15 shades in Natasha Denona's new tan palette. There are creamy mattes, metallics, and sparkling foiled finishes. The shade I decided to go with for this eye is this shade here, which is Celeste. It is a metal gloss light icy beige. So here it is next to the Marc Jacobs shade. In comparison, just the feel, the Natasha Denona felt a little bit drier, like it had a bit more grip to it. I am normally a big fan of Natasha Denona eyeshadows, so I'm sure this is going to be very, very pretty on. Okay, there is a lot of sparkle in this shade. It's not an exact match, but you know, it'll do. Okay, so they actually look quite different. The shade is a bit lighter. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of this shade Burnt, which is described as a sparkling foiled light medium pale copper, and just kind of pat it over the top to see if I can kind of even them out just a little bit. Just kind of lightly tapping it. There's a lot more sparkle and sheen over here. I don't know if you're able to see that on camera, like I'm seeing it in my 5 times magnified mirror. It's really pretty, but a completely different look than what we have over here. Both very pretty. And I do think that color is a bit closer to this one. I'm going to take the shade Paddle, which is described as a matte, light, medium, neutral nude. Neutral nude, is that redundant? Applying that above my crease, kind of outward and upward towards my brow bone. This is a Refer 15. Maybe that was the perfect description. This is a neutral nude shade. It gave me more depth than I have over here, but it's not a shade that's going to take you over the top or give you too much darkness, at least not if you're my skin tone. I'm dipping my Refer 14 in the shade Soft Spot, which is described as a medium dark brown. I'm placing that right above that little flick I made with my eyeliner earlier and above the outer crease. It's giving me that invisible lift. You don't really notice it, but it's there. I'm dipping my Nikki LaRose N12 in that same shade and running it along my lower lash line just to make my eyes look a tad bit bigger. Can you see that bit of green right in my lower tear duct? It takes a while for those Marc Jacobs eyeliners to set down. At this point, I've tried a zillion Natasha Denona palettes. This quality is the same as all of them, which is excellent. I'm going to keep playing around with this, but I'm going to keep my eye look here. I feel like we see more brightening over here because we have more shimmer, more glimmer, but it is flattering. And even though this is called a metallic, it's a softer, more everyday look. Both really flattering. By the way, if you're wondering what's been on my nails throughout this video, I get asked that a lot in my comment sections because sometimes I forget to put it in my description box, but it is a new shade I just got from London Town in their lacquer enhanced color. It's called Magnolia Haze. I wear their polishes a lot because they're breathable and they're not bad for your nails and they don't take long to dry, which I really appreciate. Anyway, I'm liking this color because it's, I would say, semi-opaque. I have on 2 coats. There's a bit of sheerness, but not too much. And it's a nice light pinky neutral that pretty much goes with anything. Okay, this is the Marc Jacobs Flashes Lash Defining Volume Mascara. I got it in Onyx Black. It has this hourglass shaped wand with, I would say, widely spaced, kind of spiky bristles. Now, I have very straight lashes that do not hold a curl easily with non-waterproof formulas, which this is. This is a non-waterproof formula, and when I wore this with no priming waterproof layer underneath, it straightened my lashes out right away. Now, if I prime my lashes first with a very light layer of waterproof mascara to hold my curl, which I usually have to do with most non-waterproof formulas, it does give me decent length and volume and it holds my curl, but it is a very clumpy formula on me. That could be because I do need to apply that priming layer first. It takes me a bit of time to declump this mascara, and it's not a formula I'm going to wear on my lower lashes just because of how clumpy and heavy it is. However, it doesn't flake or smudge throughout the day. It does wear really well. This isn't my favorite formula. I feel like I'm in the minority with that because I have seen some major raves for this mascara, and it really does look incredibly lengthening and volumizing on a lot of people. I just have difficult lashes, and sometimes I have the opposite experience of most people, and I guess this is one of those cases. Okay, before this lipstick, I want to try out these other two lip balms that are in this Summer Fridays set. So we have Peach Granita, which is a warm coral with a hint of peach flavor. I like the peach flavor. I would say it has that same Summer Fridays lip balm consistency. I would say it has a hint of peach color and flavor. I mean, they're all pretty sheer. It's a nice summery flavor. Okay, I wiped that off, and now we have Berry Sorbet, which is a cool pink with a touch of berry flavor. Again, nice flavor, just like all the Summer Fridays balms, and this one I would say has the most pigment, which I thought it would. I like this little summer set. I think sometimes they make these permanent, but I like all the flavors, and I like having mini sizes sometimes, so this is good. I want to try out this new Ilia Soft Focus finishing powder before applying lipstick. So I grabbed it in light translucent. There's a sponge here in the top, which I find a little bit unusual for a finishing powder since you usually swipe them on with a brush as the last step of your makeup. I've talked about finishing powder a ton here on my channel. I'm a big fan because they can give you that soft focus kind of real life filter candlelit glow look. They can minimize the look of pores, blur imperfections, and take away that powdery look, believe it or not. And if you've applied too much bronzer, contour, or blush, or if any of them gave you harsh lines, they can fix that too. So I'm a little bit nervous about this finishing powder. I have never used a finishing powder this much lighter than my skin tone. It's almost white. It looks ivory. Finishing powders aren't translucent. They give you that filter effect. So there's a hint of a tint there. So you can fall between shades a bit and it won't really matter. There is some flexibility there, but there are usually more than 3 shades to choose from. Ilia only has 3 shades, and I was nervous if I went with medium, it would darken too much. So I went with light, but I am really worried this is going to completely pale me out. I'm gonna start applying it to one small section and we're gonna see what happens. Let's swatch it first and just see what happens on the back of my hand. So, I mean, it appears translucent. It didn't pale out my hand, so that's good news. So I'm gonna do this just like I do all the finishing powder I apply. Just tap, 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 and then just swirl it on my face. I just don't see how this is gonna give me a sheer veil of color. Okay, I do feel like I look paler. I don't like that. You know what? I don't want to use this all over my face because I am testing the YSL foundation for the first time, and I don't want to have an extra variable that affects the foundation all over my face. So I am only going to apply this to this half of my face. Also, I always look shinier on camera with this light in front of me than I do in real life, which you'll see. I just wanted to point that out because I feel like I look extra shiny. I'm gonna look up close in my mirror to see what's going on because I feel like I'm seeing something not good. Okay, can you see what's happening right here? It looks kind of powdery and like it's stuck in my pores or something. And even though my skin kind of looks like it has a satin finish right through here, it's not unset, it's not sticky or tacky. So there's nothing that it should have stuck to. I can't think of another finishing powder that's ever done that to me before. That's really, really strange, especially since it said it's supposed to control shine and hydrate your skin for up to 12 hours with a blurred dimensional finish. It's not that blurring, and that is not flattering. So I definitely do not like that. I'm going to try this again tomorrow, and I'll put a note for this in either the description box or my top pinned comment. It won't be at the end of the video with everything else because I'm not going to have it at the end of the day, but yeah, look for a note on this. Okay, this is a nice lead-in to talk about the packaging of these new Marc Jacobs products once we're finished talking about this. I don't know if you can hear this, but the bullet rattles around in here. This is the Marc Jacobs Heart On long-lasting soft shine lipstick. I can wiggle the bullet physically. It came like that. I've seen others that do the same thing. I got the shade Love Drunk, which is described as a soft nude pink. It looked much lighter online than it does in person. I didn't want to apply any lip liner ahead of time just so you could see the pigmentation. There's a very soft, faint, sweet scent. This has a moisturizing, comfortable, creamy feel to it and a creamy satin finish. It's very flattering and it does last a long time on your lips for a bullet lipstick formula. However, it's very similar to many lipstick formulas we currently have on the market. I actually almost didn't even purchase a lipstick to try at all because this is just not a component I am going to carry with me and pull out of my purse to reapply during the day, but I really wanted to test it out. I know some people really love this component though. It does feel the cheapest out of the bunch because of the rattle. Okay, I had to let my dog out, so let's go ahead and resume the packaging talk, and I can go ahead and give you sort of a ranking or my thoughts on the products overall, my summary, because I've already tested these out. So the packaging just seems to be polarizing overall. People either seem to love it or really not. I think it fits with his brand, with everything he's been doing. It's colorful, it's fun, but I personally was more of a fan of his older, sleek, elegant packaging. I just really liked that packaging. This was a bit of a surprise, I guess, for everybody. Even when my 21-year-old daughter saw it sitting on my counter, she said that was a choice. I think if you took the brand name off and just saw it sitting on a counter, picked it up and felt it, you could mistake this for kids' makeup with the mylar balloon aesthetic and the charms, but you know, there's nothing wrong with a little fun and whimsy. My main issue is the bulkiness of the packaging. I just have a thing against bulky packaging. It's hard to store, carry with you, travel with it, and everything except the mascara is bulky. But it's my least favorite product. It just doesn't work well for me. Again, I think I'm in the minority there. And both of these I like, but I don't find them revolutionary. I think there are other products on the market that are the same, if not better, and they come in better packaging, less bulky packaging, and nicer feeling packaging. I think both of these have the cheapest feeling components out of any of these. Now, I'm going to get back to you at the end of this day on this formula. I just want to do another rub test, maybe a water test too, so I'll get back to you on that. But these two, I think, are standout formulas. Bulky, lightweight packaging for both of them, but they're formulas that I'm going to continue to use. I probably won't be traveling with either of them because of the size and the bulk, but they are products I'm going to continue to reach for. So stay tuned. I'm going to continue to wear this through the end of the day and come back to you and tell you how it went. Okay, it's been about 9 hours since I first applied this foundation, and at about 3.5 hours after I finished filming, I grabbed this clip outside just to show you what everything looked like in natural light. I think it looked really good at that point. Now, I obviously have some shine and oil breakthrough going on in my shine prone areas. Keep in mind, I didn't apply a primer today. It was also extremely rainy, steamy, hot, and humid here today. I also didn't blot my face a single time. So given that, I think the coverage looks pretty good. If I blotted my face, my makeup would pretty much look perfect. So I'm going to keep testing this for several more days with primers, different variables, and things like that, as I always do for my upcoming foundation review, foundation roundup. So stay tuned for that. The Ilia finishing powder did end up meshing with my skin and looking a bit better. I still don't love it though. It's not a seamless finishing powder like the ones I usually use. The concealer though has worn beautifully throughout the day. I have lost no coverage. It feels nice. It hasn't looked or felt drying as the day has gone on the way some concealers can. I don't think this is the most flattering light I'm in. I have some shadows casting down right on my under eye hollows, but you know, it is what it is. But I am really impressed with this concealer. I've given you my thoughts on pretty much everything so far, except for this eyeliner, which I needed to do at the end of the day. So I brought in a Q-tip. One end is dry, one is wet. I'm just gonna lightly rub this over the eyeliner. I mean, it looks good right now, but I'm just anxious to see if any of it transfers. I am very lightly rubbing it, and there is some transfer. Can you see that? I am really disappointed about that because the old version just did not do that. I mean, you could wear that in your waterline. I don't usually wear eyeliners in my waterline just because it's really not great for your eyes. But the old version was a bulletproof eyeliner, and I mean, this is just wiping right away. That was the wet end. Okay, the shine on my face is blinding me, so I'm just gonna blot that really quickly so I can finish talking. Yes, that's much better, and everything still looks great. So this is disappointing because the previous version of this liner was bulletproof, and I just don't see this holding up through watery eyes, crying, or on the waterline. So yeah, that's disappointing. If you've tried this or any of the products in this video and you've experienced something different or the same, let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.